Hello and good afternoon. Today is Monday, June 4th, and my name is Dala Alphonso. This is Dalaisms Live, and once again, thank you so much for joining me for yet another episode. I have a lot to cover today, so I hope that you would hang in there and make the most of the time that we have together this afternoon. Well, if you're just joining us for the first time, this is Dalaisms Live, and today we'll be discussing common mistakes that people make daily. Why? Because if you can succeed in a day, you will succeed in a week. You succeed in a week, you can succeed in a month. And once you master how to succeed in a month, you can succeed in a year and the rest of your life. So we just want to focus on things that shape our daily outcomes, things that determine who we become, things that have decided who we are today. Don't forget that here at Dalaisms, there is no topic that is beyond limits. That means today we'll talk politics, tomorrow we'll talk private personal development, the next day we'll discuss faith. And within those topics, there are no categories that are off limits. That means anything and everything is touchable. So once again, thank you so much for being here. If you're just joining us for the first time, give us a shout out. Let me know that you're here online with us and where exactly you are connecting from. We'd love to hear where you're coming from. Now, last week, before we get into today's topic, last week there were some prizes that we wanted to give away, and it looked as if we had, but we're still contemplating if we should give away the prize to the winner or to the individuals that we consider to be winners. So that is still being debated, but we will make a decision before the end of this program. All right. And then today also there will be another giveaway for folks who pay attention to what exactly we're doing here and what exactly it is that we are talking about. So once again, welcome to Dalaisms Live. My name is Dala Alphonso, and today we are discussing common mistakes that people make on a daily basis. All right, let's get quickly down to work. Let's start talking. Now, like I said, if you're joining us for the first time, I see a few people connecting with us. Let me just say hello real quick. I see Victor Uraka is here. Ibito Amakiri Azeri, Hevziba Irabo. Okay, those are the ones that just made comments, but you know, I have quite a few people joining, and I can see. If I don't mention your name, please forgive me, but there are so many screens in front of me, and for some reason the internet is really dragging, so I can't even catch everything in front of me. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. If I don't mention your name, forgive me, but thank you so much for being here. All right, today we're going to discuss 10 different mistakes that we make on a daily basis. And I think it is so important. It is really, really critical for you to pay attention to this. And if you're watching us, please make sure you hit that share button, invite your friends to join this broadcast. They might be able to pick one or two things that might be able to benefit them and also make life easier for you. So today we're going to be discussing 10 common mistakes that we make every single day. 10 common mistakes that we make every single day. And if you can stay to the end of this broadcast, there is a prize that you will receive based on these questions or based on what has been discussed today. So I will encourage you to hang in there and run through the entire broadcast. Every week we are going to be giving away prizes for the month of May and June. And so make sure you hang in there and learn and win all at the same time. Now, the first mistake that we make daily, in my opinion, is the fact that we do not pay attention to relationships. Yes, relationships. Relationships are critical parts of who we are as human beings. As a human being, you are relational by design. That is why you are not born, you did not hatch from an egg and don't know who your parents are. It means that it is important for you to have that connection to a community. So you go to school, you develop friendships, you develop relationships. Some of them are acquaintances, some are a lot more cordial, others are a lot more intimate, but you develop relationships with people, and those relationships at the end of the day can either be positive or they can be negative, meaning it could be a relationship that is adding value to you and pushing you towards your life's goals, or it could be a relationship that is detrimental to you, that is negative and pulling you away from accomplishing things that you ought to do. It is important for you every single day to ask yourself, what are the relationships around me adding to my life? Are they adding value or are they taking away from me? On a daily basis, you must evaluate your relationships, because on a daily basis, you have to make decisions to invest time, energy, resources to certain people, to your family, to your kids, if you have kids, to your coworkers, to your business acquaintances, to your mentors, to peers, to proteges. The question is, what value is that relationship giving to you? And that will determine the amount of time that you invest into it. Otherwise, you're just wasting time. So it is very critical to evaluate the relationships in your life every single day. People who do not evaluate the relationships in their life end up spending time on things that do not have a return. So it is critical. Pay attention to the relationships in your life. That is one common mistake that people make. They just assume everybody has a right to be in their lives. Here's the truth. Most people are the average of maybe 4 or 5 people that they surround themselves with. So on a daily basis, the people that you give access, the relationships that you nurture, the relationships that you encourage are the ones that will determine the outcomes of your day. So very, very important. Pay close attention to the relationships in your life. The second thing that most people the mistake that most people make is that we worry too much. Yes, we worry too much. We worry about everything and anything. Here's the truth. If you cannot fix that problem immediately, then stop worrying about it and start thinking of solutions. Here's the truth. Here's what you don't realize. That every time that you worry, you become anxious, you become depressed, you become unhappy, your body releases chemicals into your system that, number one, is unhealthy for you. Number two, causes you to begin to panic, causes you to begin to become non-creative. You're no longer focused on creative ways or solutions to fix that problem. Instead, you are now engulfed by the problem itself. All you're thinking about is the negative outcomes of that problem, the pains that that problem will cause you, the discomfort that that problem will cause you. But that is a huge mistake. Whenever a problem shows up in your life, rather than spending all your time, energy worrying about it, realize one thing, that being worried does not fix any problem. Instead, it should serve as a trigger for you to start thinking of ways to solve that problem. The moment you start thinking on the problem, you begin to find solutions. You begin to make headway. You begin to come up with creative answers that will solve a problem that would have caused you to worry. All right. So be anxious for nothing. Don't be worried about anything. Instead, take your time, sit down, ask yourself, all right, this problem in my life is a reality, but how am I going to fix it? What are the possible solutions? And then begin to work your way towards those solutions. That is so critical. Otherwise, you will become frustrated, you will become unhappy, you will be anxious, you will become depressed, and yet the problem is not going away. So it is very, very important for you to realize that worrying too much, worrying in the course of your day is detrimental to you. That is another mistake that a lot of us make on a daily basis. The third that I want to talk about is procrastination. Yes, procrastination. That is leaving behind the things that you ought to have done now for later. Procrastination is a huge problem because it does not only steal time from you. That means, number one, it does not only steal the time that you ought to invest in other things in the future, it also takes away the outcomes of what you could enjoy tomorrow because you did not sow today. There are things you're supposed to do right away. Develop the habit of doing things right away. Procrastination is one of the biggest mistakes that people make because for some reason we believe that we have plenty of time. We believe that we can do whatever it is that we're supposed to have done today, tomorrow, or later. And here's the funny thing. Procrastination is a very interesting habit because it starts out by justifying why you shouldn't do what you ought to do now so that you can do it later. It justifies it again tomorrow. And before you know it, you lose focus and lose sight on what you are supposed to be doing simply because you are more involved in whatever it is that you're doing right now that may not be equally as productive or will not have the same results that you typically would have had if you had engaged. So it is so critical. It is so important for you to make sure that you do things right when they are supposed to be done. If there's a task you're supposed to do right away, get it done right there and then. Stop waiting for later, to get things done. Just do it right away. Get it off the way. Check it off your list because it also creates an atmosphere of fulfillment. It makes you feel satisfied. You have joy that comes with knowing that I have accomplished something today and I did it at the time it was due. All right. It doesn't matter what type of maize. If you're a farmer, you cannot plant in the winter. There is a season for every seed to be put in the ground. There is a season for every task to be done. Understand that and make sure that you do things at the right time to get the right results. All right. As long as that thing is a priority, as long as that thing is on your to-do list for that day, as long as that thing is amongst the things that demand of your time, make sure you create the time to get it done. Otherwise, you will procrastinate and not get it done or get the full value of what that specific assignment is supposed to give to you. The fourth top point I want to talk about today is the value of time. A lot of us do not value time, or a lot of us undervalue time. Why is this so important? I cannot overemphasize this. Why? Because everything you achieve in life has a link or a connection to time. Time is the currency of life. Time is the currency or the product that produces resources. Time is what develops quality or poor relationships. Time is what makes you a success in life or a failure. Time is the one thing that can determine a future full of everything you dream about or an existence void of the things that you dream about. It is so important for you to pay attention to the value of time because time is the one ingredient that every human being on earth has been given equally. And how you handle your time determines what you obtain from life. Bill Gates has 24 hours. Mark Zuckerberg has 24 hours. The president of your nation has 24 hours. The governors, the senators in your state or in your city or in your province or region or wherever it is that you call it, your county, has the same 24 hours. The most successful people that you know have 24 hours. The poorest people on earth that you know have the same 24 hours. So that is one thing that we all have equally. But what determines the value of your time is how you appropriate it. Are you someone who likes to waste time, or are you somebody who likes to invest time? Time invested will always produce results. That is why your employer pays you per month, or pays you per week, or pays you per hour. Why? How much value they place on your time. So if you develop yourself by investing time into your life, then what happens is when people interact with you or need your services or your abilities, they value it by time. How much is your time worth to me? How much am I willing to pay for your time? So it all comes down to time. It is so critical. It is so important that you pay close attention to the value of time. Time is the difference between successful people and those who are not successful. So very critical you pay close attention to the value of time. Number 5, this is so funny because a lot of people fail to laugh. Laughter is a good thing. Many people do not laugh enough during the course of the day. And you'll be wondering, what's he talking about? Laughing? It's a common mistake that many of us make. Why? Let me explain this. Scientifically, medically, it's proven that the more you laugh, the more joyous you are, your body begins to release chemicals that enhance creativity. The more you laugh, your body begins to release chemicals that makes you more healthy, causes you to age, causes you to be less stressful, reduces aging, improves your metabolism, strengthens your immune system simply by laughing. You know, it's funny that that when we think about the concept of laughter being good medicine, many of us do not even understand what that means. Why? Because the human body, this dynamic entity called the human body, the same one you're in, takes advantage of laughter. So learn to laugh. It doesn't matter how your laughter sounds. You could be one of those ki, ha, 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 ho, 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 ho person. However way you laugh, learn to laugh and throw your head off and laugh. And laugh from the depth of your soul because it improves the quality of your life. So make sure you laugh regularly. Laugh every day, even when things may not be working out, when things seem difficult, when things seem like a challenge. Find a good reason to laugh. All right, that's why comedy is one of the best things that could happen to our human existence. Find jokes, engage things that will cause you to laugh during the course of the day. But again, do it in moderation so that you will not waste time looking for things to laugh at. All right. It is a fundamental part of who we are. So learn to laugh and laugh very often. Another point number 6 is many of us do not prioritize. We do not prioritize at all. And this is a huge problem. There are things that require your time on a daily basis. There are things that require our time daily, but it's not everything that should take your time. There are things that you ought to delegate. There are things that you can leave for later, but there are those things that have a timeline, an aggressive timeline that needs to be done right away. So you see how all of this is interconnected. The value of time, the importance of not procrastinating and acting on your priorities, making sure that you have an order of things that you have to do every single day is very, very critical. I don't want to get into the whole goal setting and planning concepts, but I want to leave you with this, that there are 3 things that you must pay attention to everything. There are things that you must do. The must-do items must always be where your priority is every single day. Get all the must-dos done. Then there is also what is called the should do's, which is think about that as the next level priority. So the must do's are your first priority, your should do's are the second priority, and then the third are your could do's. That means if you have the time to get to them, you can get them done. But here's the interesting thing: the could do's, when left for long, and the should do's, in a matter of time, will become must do's. So you don't want to ever be in that situation where all the things that you have to do in a day become must do's. That means you have mastered the art of procrastination. So it is so critical for you to make sure that you take care of your priority items, which are the must do's. Then go ahead and do the should do's, and then get to the could do's. All right. And that way your life is structured in a way that you're meeting your highest priorities first. And I will encourage you to always write a list of things you have to do every single day. Get a calendar or get whatever it is to help you manage. Why? Because until you master your time, you cannot master your life. All right. So if you ever came for our private transformation network trainings, one of the first things that we focus on is time management. Why? Because everything we do in life is a product of time. And so it is critical for us to be able to understand time management, but not just time management. We'll take it to the next level: time optimization. Why? Because everybody most likely knows how to manage their time in one capacity or the other, but very few people know how to optimize their time. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're living in Nigeria and you're watching this broadcast right now, I will encourage you to plan to attend our next set of private transformation network retreats that are going to be coming up from the end of June through July. Take advantage of them. If you're in Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Abuja, Yola, or any of the cities nearby, go get plugged in. Your life will be transformed. And I will be there personally to take those training programs. So I want to encourage you to be there. And if you're just joining us for the first time, my name is Dala Alphonso. This is Dala-isms Live, a weekly broadcast where no topic is off limits. And today we are discussing part 2 of common mistakes that people make on a daily basis. We've talked about 5 key elements or 5 key mistakes that people make. That number 1, they do not pay attention to the value of relationships. They do not evaluate relationships. Number 2, we worry too much. Number 3, we procrastinate a lot. Number 4, we don't laugh enough. And then number 5, I just talked about how to prioritize. Moving forward, number 6, this is so important. Many people fail to evaluate their accomplishments for the day, to review what you have achieved. Have you ever sat down to ask yourself, what did I achieve yesterday? I had 24 hours. What did I do with those 24 hours? What were the outcomes of my 24 hours? You see, evaluation of your past enables you to prepare for your future. Okay? Remember that. The proper evaluation of your past will enable you plan properly for your future. So it is so critical for you to spend some time and look at the past few days and say, what have I accomplished yesterday? What did I get done yesterday? What is it that I did right? And what did I do wrong? What could I do better? You see, when you do this process of self-evaluation, it enables you take away all the fluff, all the things that normally will not add value to you, those things that keep drawing you back. You begin to realize, you know what, I spent 3 hours hanging out with this guy or with this gal and nothing came out of it. What is wrong with me? And the same person calls you and say, hey, you want to hang out tomorrow? You're like, nope, I am not available. Sorry. Why? Because you took some time to evaluate or to review your previous day, to review, your previous day, to see what was it that I did right, what was it that came out of it, what was good, what was poor, and all of that. So very important for you to always do that. Now, the next point I want to make, point number 7, is failing to pay attention to motion. When I'm talking about motion is this. You know what, let me backtrack. Let me package that in a group. Because I was going to talk about motion in itself, but let me do something else. Number 7, Point number 7, failing to pay attention to the 5 elements of a successful day. Let me discuss that in one bulk. I think that makes a lot more sense than just trying to break each of those components individually so that I will not repeat myself. Okay, what do I mean? What are the 5 elements of a successful day? Number 1, motion. I will discuss that more. Number 2, nutrition. Okay. Number 3, vocation. Number 4, education. And then number 5, restoration. Those 5 elements make up the ingredients of a successful day. Now, there are a lot of other things you can do during the course of the day, but in order for you to deem your day successful, it is important for you to pay attention to those 5 elements. So let's start out with motion. What is motion? Motion has to do with movement. It has to do with engaging yourself physically. So how do you take advantage, or how do you bring motion into your day? You exercise. Why? Because health is wealth. Your health is so critical. You exercise, you take some time, you go to the gym to work out. During the course of the day, maybe you're not one of those gym rats. Maybe you're one of those people that just likes to spend a substantial amount of time every weekend to go work out. I fall in that category. I try to work out every single day, but sometimes my schedule, my itinerary gets in the way, and so I typically may not be able to spend 30 minutes, working out, or an hour working out every day. But I make a concerted effort every weekend to work out aggressively. Why? Because in order for you to be healthy, even medically, it's been determined that you must spend nothing less than 300, anywhere between 300 to 600 minutes per month. Anywhere between 300 to 600 paces, all right, daily, and then that accumulates during the course of the week. So it is important for you to be healthy. Motion is very critical. So rather than using the elevator every time, do things that will cause your heart rate to go up. Use the stairs. Now, I'm not saying go and do an 18 flights, 18 stories up and use the stairs. That's not what I'm saying. Well, if that's your thing, go for it. All right. But I'm saying that try to move around. Maybe you're getting up from, instead of calling your secretary or across the room, or calling your coworker from across the room to do something, why don't you get up and walk? Because during that period of taking a few steps, you're adding value, your heart rate is working, and then you're enhancing circulation. By doing that, you're oxygenating your body and creating a more alkaline environment that will also help fight against diseases. All right. So it is very, very important that you pay attention to motion, especially those of you that are too busy to exercise. Pay attention to motion. Now, you'll be wondering, why is this so critical? Because if you stop exercising, it's only a matter of time that your body becomes so used to it, and then you now start having health problems as well. All right. So motion is important. Find ways to engage motion daily. Number 2, we talked about nutrition. Why is nutrition important? What you eat determines who you are. All right. You can't just eat junk and expect to be healthy. You just don't expect not to pay attention to your nutrition and still expect to be healthy. You have to pay attention to what you eat. You see, and let me speak to some of you meat lovers. I used to be one of you. I think I'm still fighting that too. But here's the thing. The portion of meat, protein, we're talking about meat on your plate, should constitute no more than a third. No more than a third. And that is a lot per meal. No more than a third. So if you're one of those that just likes to get all meats and just a little bit of stuff on the side, it's a huge mistake that you're making. Pay attention to your health. It takes a lot for the human body to process that type of protein, all right? And it affects you in a lot of different ways. Pay attention to your nutrition. Eat more vegetables, eat more fruits, eat more of the things that will enable you become healthier. All right, less junk food, less eating out, except if you're one of those that likes to go eat fresh food. All right, so it's critical. Pay attention to what you eat. I can't tell you what to eat. You may be a vegetarian, you may be somebody who is into, the organic lifestyle or whatever it is, but whatever it is, pay attention to what you eat, because what you eat oftentimes determines who you are. All right. Then number 3, vocation, your work. We have to work somehow. You have to be involved in something that is creative. It may be your passion, it may be your mission, it may be whatever it is, whatever you deem as your work. And make sure it is something that you love to do. Statistics has proven that 84% or more of people are on the wrong jobs, meaning they're doing something they hate. All right. They're doing things they don't love. That means they wake up in the morning and go to their job and they are miserable. If that is you, start thinking about spending more time to work on your passion as your vocation. Someone said that if you do something you love for the rest of your life, you will never work a day, and yet you will never be broke. That is so important. Pay attention to your vocation, but it is important that you work. Get something to do. Create a product. Provide a service. Do something every single day that will cause you to become a success, that will give you notoriety in your industry, that will cause you to be celebrated wherever you go into. So very important, pay close attention to your vocation, and that is a daily run. You may say, but the weekends are free. There are things you can do on the weekend that is deemed vocation that will still help you to become a success. Number 4, education. It's a daily walk. Learn something new daily. Someone said, and it's a proven fact, that if you read an hour a day, you will read 50 books in a year. And 50 books in a year seems like a lot for some people. Why? Because most people do not even read a book in a year. Most people, and that is a fact. Most people will entire year, we're talking about the bulk, the majority, over 75% of our population on earth. I'm not talking about in your city, on earth. 75% of the population on earth do not read a book a year. In fact, may not remember the last time they read a book. 75%. That is a lot. That's about 3/4 of the human race will not read a book in an entire year. Okay, do not even remember the last time they read a book. Another 20% may read maybe 1 or 2 books, maybe here and there every other year. But if you invest 1 hour a week, you can read close to 50 books or more, depending on your reading pace or how aggressively you read. And you can read a minimum of 50 books in the course of a year. So identify a topic, identify something you do, you love to do, and set aside just 1 hour and start from there. If 30 minutes is your thing, start out with 30 minutes. Say, you know what, I want to develop this habit. Spend 30 minutes every single day to read a book, and then you find yourself growing into it. And before you know it, you are reading at least 30, 40, 50, 100 books a year. Can you imagine who you would become simply by educating yourself? And education is not only through reading. It could be on listening to audio tapes and watching videos and webinars and different platforms and things that would add value to you. Critical. The bottom line is you have to constantly educate yourself. If you're one of those people who is just waiting to just take care of things, here and there, you'll not make much of an impact. Develop the habit of self-education on a regular, on a daily basis, and that will help you a lot. And then lastly, restoration. Make sure you get time to rest. Get some sleep. It is very important. I'm not talking about oversleeping, and I'm not talking about undersleeping. I'm not going to get into the science of how many hours you're going to sleep. Some say that it's healthy for you to sleep anywhere between 6 to 8 hours per day. Some say that you should be fine with anywhere from 4 to 6 hours per day. I'm not going to tell you where you fall into the category, but make sure you get enough rest. But I can tell you this for sure. If you sleep more than 8 hours a day, you have a problem. Because if you sleep for 8 hours or more a day and you're 60 years old, you'll have spent a minimum of 20 years sleeping. That is just practicing to be dead, something that you will become, you will do eventually. So what's the point? Make the most of your time while you are still alive. while you're still alive. Take advantage and make the most of your time. Okay. So very, very important for you to remember that. Now, here is so those are the things that I want to discuss with you today. That number one, it is very important to pay attention to relationships. Number two, it is important for you to worry less. Don't worry too much. Stop stressing yourself. Number three, stop procrastinating. Number four, on a daily basis, pay attention to the value of your time. Number five, learn to laugh. Laughter is good medicine. Number five, prioritize your day by investing your time, energy on the things that you must do. They are more important to you. Now, next, be sure to review your day. Make sure that the things that you're supposed to have done that day gets done. And if they're not, focus on them and get them out of the way. Now, having said those 7 things, we also discussed the 5 priorities or the 5 elements of a successful day, which are basically paying attention to motion. Number 2, making sure you have proper nutrition. Number 3, your vocation, education. And lastly, restoration. 5 key elements, all right? So now here is my question for you for the day. For those of you who are watching me live, one of the things we try to do here is to encourage you to listen to the whole program because it adds value to you. All right, so here's the question of the day. What are the 5 elements of a successful day? What are the 5 elements of a successful day? Now, remember we said that the month of May and June, we're dedicating it to individuals living in Nigeria. So if you're living in Nigeria, this question is for you. What are the 5 elements of a successful day? And the first person to type the 5 elements in the order that they were given in the comments below will win the prize for the day. And today's prize is a 2,000 Naira recharge card. It's just a call and data card just to say thank you for being a part of the program. So the very first person living in Nigeria that types in the 5 elements of a successful day in the order that I gave them will be our winner of 2,000 Naira recharge card. And I am looking at the comments right now, and we will send that to the very first person. We will be contacting the individual who is our winner for the day, and we will be sending that to you right away. So if you're joining us, thank you so much for joining us. Now, for those of you who joined last week's broadcast, we put out a picture that was taken in the year 1999. In 1999, we put out a picture. And in that picture, the whole idea was we wanted to find out who it is or who are those in the picture. Interestingly, many of you contested and did not know. And like I said, we're focusing on Nigeria this last. So if you're wondering who number 16 is in the picture, it's a young man named Eben. All right, look at that picture very well. That is Eben. He's a Nigerian musician. I think many of you know who he is if you are in Nigeria or if you live or if you interact with Nigerians. So the individual in the picture that could have given you the chance to double your winnings for the last 7 days is an individual whose name is Eben. All right, so if you missed that, well, sorry, the giveaway for last week is over. Today was just to announce the winner. Now, we looked at a few people who I thought got some answers correctly, but there were specific rules with regards to winning the prize. There were very specific rules. And if you don't pay attention to rules, it means some people got the right answers, but they did not put the hashtag. And if you don't put in the hashtag, sorry, we cannot accept that. That means you are not following instructions. So in order for you to be deemed a winner, you have to identify 5 people on that list, name them, identify what number they are, and then put a hashtag at the bottom that says Dalaisms. But some got the questions, but did not put the hashtag. Some got the hashtag, did not put the numbers. They just wrote names. So follow instructions. So because of that, we will not be giving anybody a prize for last week's event. What are we trying to do? We are trying to teach you to pay attention to detail. We're trying to encourage you because life does not give you the opportunities for do-overs. Life does not often try to be compassionate. Life gives you what you sow into it. So some of you who went in there and put in your answers, some did not spell names correctly. That was another problem. If you don't spell an individual's name correctly, we cannot give you the prize also, because all of those are things that we're looking at. If you are trying to compete for something, make sure you pay attention to detail. Spell names. And again, there was one there are a couple that we saw that says number so is Dala, number so is your wife. Who is your wife? That doesn't tell me anything. That's your wife. That is your daughter. That do they have names? You understand? Who is the individual? So saying your wife is not the response. Give the person's proper names. All right. So for those of you who contested, thank you so much for competing. We will not be giving any prizes to any winners for last week because of this disparity, and that's why I wanted to take the time to explain it. All right. We will be bringing on future competition, but again, it is very, very important for you to pay attention to exactly what is being asked so that you can come out a winner. All right. So once again, thank you so much for being on the program today. I am still looking to see if we have a winner. Not yet. As soon as we identify a winner, we will be announcing the winner of this week's event or this week's challenge. And this ends as soon as we have one winner. We will that's the end of that. It's the very first person that gets the question correctly. What are the 5 elements of a successful day in the exact order that they were given? All right. So once again, thank you so much for joining me for Dalaisms. My name is Dala Alphonso, and I am broadcasting live from Omaha, Nebraska. Be sure to join me again next week at the same time, right here on Facebook and YouTube, as we explore topics that have relevance to each and every one of us and helps us to become a success in life. And do not forget that at Uncommon Living, no topic is out of limits. Thank you for being here. Be sure to share this video. Share this video. Share it on your timelines. Share it on your groups and platforms where you have access to, so that others can come learn with us again together. Same time next week, Mondays, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States. That will be 12 p.m. in the East Coast, California, if you're connecting from there. If you're in Nigeria, 8 p.m., 7 p.m. GMT is the time for Dalaisms every single week. So do the math wherever it is that you're connecting from, and I will look forward to being with you again. Same time next week. God bless you and have a fantastic week ahead.